The Tibet Center, Kunchap Tarbuling, that's our Tibetan name. It means place for seekers of liberation. Place, what is it? Imbued or filled with seekers of liberation. Anyway, you don't need that information. This is our twice weekly presentation of the Buddha Dharma, specifically topics from stages of the path. All the prayers we say are on the website right up front. Just click on prayers. If you have anyone who has passed away recently, individuals or groups, place their names in the chat box as soon as you can, so that when we say Sutra, the Recollection of the Three Jewels, at the end of the class, their names will be already there, because there is a time lag. So this is, we'll start right away. There's no other issues available right now. It'll be a potpourri tonight. We'll continue with the Dalai Lama's book on dying, the last part. We'll continue with Zapatril's Words of My Perfect Teacher. But first, we'll introduce Matthew Ricard's book, In Search of Wisdom, conversation he had with his friends. One's a philosopher. One is a psychiatrist. The philosopher actually studies Korean Zen. So it's very interesting conversations. And very loose, good to get into the mood with. Happy St. Patty's Day, top of the morning to you and the rest of the day to myself. So the first prayer is prayer for the spreading of the teachings. By the force of the blessings of the non-fallacious three precious gems and of the truth of our pure selfless wishes, may the precious Buddha's teachings flourish and spread to the expanse of all areas throughout the length and breadth of the West, for all the people living there together with their near ones who have engaged in the teachings and have faith and respect for them. May all conditions adverse to their practice of the pure Dharma be dispelled, and an excellent collection of favorable conditions increase like the waxing moon. And especially for those who work on methods to accomplish the flourishing and spreading of the victorious one's teachings, which are the source of benefit and happiness, may they never be oppressed by masses of interference and adverse conditions, and may this spontaneously happen just as we have hoped and wished. The Heart Sutra. Thus have I heard once, the Blessed One was dwelling in the royal domain of the Vulture Peak Mountain, together with a big gathering of great monks and great bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One entered a samadhi which examines the dharmas called profound illumination, and at the same time, noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, looking at the profound practice of transcendent knowledge, saw the five skandhas and their natural emptiness. Then, through the inspiration of the Buddha, Venerable Shariputra said to Avalokiteshvara, how should those noble ones learn who wish to follow the profound practice of transcendent knowledge? And Avalokiteshvara answered, Venerable Shariputra, whoever wishes to follow the profound practice of transcendent knowledge should look at it like this, seeing the five skandhas and their natural emptiness. Form is empty, emptiness itself is form. Emptiness is not separate from form, form is not separate from emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discriminating awareness, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Thus all the dharmas are empty and have no characteristics. They are unborn and unceasing. They are not impure or pure. They neither decrease nor increase. Therefore, since there is emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no discriminating awareness, no compositional factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no appearance, no sound, no smell, no taste, no sensation, no objects of mind, no quality of sight, no quality of hearing, no quality of smelling, no quality of tasting, no quality of sensing, no quality of thought, no quality of mind, consciousness. There are no nidanas from ignorance to old age and death, nor their wearing out. There is no suffering, no cause of suffering, no ending of suffering, and no path, no wisdom, no attainment, no non-attainment. Again, that is a qualified no, no inherent, it means, not nihilism. So, therefore, since there is no attainment, The bodhisattvas abide by means of transcendent knowledge, and since there is no obscurity of mind, they have no fear. They transcend falsity and pass beyond the bounds of sorrow. All the Buddhas who dwell in the past, present, and future by means of transcendent knowledge, fully and clearly awaken to unsurpassed, true, complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of transcendent knowledge, the mantra of deep insight, the unsurpassed mantra, the unequaled mantra, the mantra which calms all suffering should be known as truth, for there is no deception. In transcendent knowledge, the mantra is proclaimed, Tayata Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Bodhisoha. O Shariputra, this is how a bodhisattva mahasattva should learn profound transcendent knowledge. Then the Blessed One arose from that samadhi and praised the bodhisattva mahasattva Avalokiteshvara, saying, Good, good, O son of noble family, profound, transcendent knowledge should be practiced just as you have taught, and the Tathagatas will rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, Shariputra and Avalokiteshvara, that whole gathering in the world, with its gods, humans, asuras, and gandharvas, their hearts full of joy, praised the words of the Blessed One. Refuge in Bodhisattva vow, and for the title of generating bodhicitta, we say these verses 3 times as usual. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. So as is customary, we will do one mala round of the mantra Om Mani Padme Hum, the mantra of Chenre Zig or Avalokiteshvara, representation right here, the personification of great compassion. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani. Om Mani Padme Hum. So we'll start off with ease our way into the Dharma. Ah, someone's at the door.
Hello.
You made it.
I made it.
Congratulations. Take your time, there's no rush.
You just
Yeah, we just said the prayers, that's all. We didn't start the class, so. The trains in New Jersey, what, someone was killed at Milburn? Is that
Yeah.
all the trains?
Fatality, they announced it, yeah.
Yeah. So I'll shoot you the 3 jewels at the end of the class
Yeah.
for the person who died.
Yeah.
And we'll do that. Our little contribution, which is not that little. So this is from Matthew Ricard. Mathieu Ricard, I can't pronounce it the French way. Matthew Ricard, hey, you know. Him and his friends for life, psychiatrist, philosopher, and he meet. They actually got a cabin in the woods and had a couple of weeks to discuss these items. They've known each other. One is severely handicapped, Christophe, I believe, and he studies Korean Zen. Alexandra is the psychiatrist, also dabbles in Buddhism and other. And Mathieu, as you know, was the Institute of Pasteur scientist, biology person, has a PhD in science and then gave it all up to become a monk. He said, when I was in the Pasteur Institute, I kept thinking about, Nepal, where his monastery was, where his teacher was. When I was there, I never thought of the Pasteur Institute. So he took that as a sign that my work is here. So here's a little interesting. He said, The Path and the Goals, from page 25. This is Ricard speaking. I remember meeting in Canada a group of young people who were just graduating from university. For 6 months, they had been seeking professional counselors and filling out questionnaires. No stone had been left unturned to help them find their direction. They were graduating, etc. But how can you find direction in your life by filling out questionnaires and following the advice of people you hardly know? My own advice to them was, why not go sit by some lakeside by yourself or with someone you really like? Stop filling out questionnaires, turn off your computer, and ask yourself what you really want to do in this life. Let the answer come from deep inside you. That should be the rule now. I'm going to try that out in today's world. Microsoft will grab you before you even get out of school if you're any good. The length of the journey and its difficulties are not a problem. When you travel in the Himalayas, things are not always easy. The journey of life he's talking about. Things are not always easy. Sometimes the weather is beautiful. Sometimes it's horrid. The landscapes might be sublime, but you could also find yourself blocked by a ravine, or you could find yourself wading through a marshy jungle at the bottom of a tropical valley. Nevertheless, every step brings us closer to the place we want to go, and that is an inspiration. By the way, the definition of perseverance, one of the 6 perfections of Buddhism, or paramitas, that you are studying in Korea, Alexandra told Alexandra, is the joy of doing good. We call it joyous effort. But in other words, the act itself is joyful. Forget about the goal. The goal is the goal. The joy of doing good. Good here is not simply a good action. It's something that inspires us deeply. It is joy in the form of effort. The good meditator is happy to hit the cushion. Even if the journey is sometimes hard, our enthusiasm lasts if we keep making progress toward the place where we really want to go. On the other hand, if we stray and lose our reference point, we lose courage. Disorientation and the feeling of helplessness are added to fatigue. That's a nice cocktail, huh? We lose our will to keep walking and just sit there, beaten and in despair. That is why the direction we choose in life plays such an important role. Really, in Buddhism too, you got to scope out by reading, listening to the lectures, mentally challenge them. Make sure you understand them in the first place by not just hearing it. Yeah, I agree. That's great. Maybe, but why not refer back to them, ingrain them more in you? So, psychologists of happiness such as Daniel Gilbert say that effort itself is what brings satisfaction. Sometimes at work you get satisfied from all the effort, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes. Not often. Often. Yeah, true. And it comes out. in the product. It comes out in the atmosphere in the place. It's palpable. I'm not kidding. Once we have attained the goal, we are a little bit disappointed, maybe. In a discussion I was having with him, I put it this way. If, for example, I want a Maserati, he's talking about worldly goals now, I'm going to be very excited about it and basically, quote, happy while I make 1,000 efforts to make the money I need for it. But once I have my car, I'll be afraid it's going to get scratched or stolen, and in the end, it won't bring me the happiness I was counting on. Good morning, that's the world. No. As long as there's confusion about what ultimately brings happiness, it's a fact that you're going to be disappointed once you achieve your goal. But if the goal is a worthwhile one, such as, for example, I want to cultivate wisdom or altruistic love, both the path and the goal will be satisfying. The way there and the result, satisfying. The trouble is that we often delude ourselves by pursuing illusory goals such as wealth, fame, physical beauty, more possessions, all of which is just smoke and mirrors and does not truly contribute to our development. This is a discussion group, by the way, so feel free, pipe in, complain, protest, walk around the room, I don't know, whatever you want. Now he adds later on, and I won't give you Alexander's reply because we'll be here all night. There's a very good book, though, if you want a good conversational book about the spiritual path. Well written. It was written in French and translated. It's about 20 years old. It's not recent. Matthew says further on page 27, the goal that I'm talking about is that which inspires me. I'm not talking about a goal that obsesses me and that I attach all my clingings to. That's a big point. Obsessing or inspiring. The goal should be inspiring. Do you agree, Lavinia? Sorry? Your goal should be inspiring, not obsessing, right? I'm saying the example, you want a car. You get the car finally, then you're worried about it getting old, getting scratched, whatever. So. It's all impermanent. Ooh, very good. Did you pick her up on that? So, I'm not talking about a goal that obsessively attach all my clingings to. The idea of a direction or an aspiration is more satisfying and is not something that is subject to limits. That should be your goal. In Buddhism, we mistrust all fixations. A big point. Including fixation on a noble goal. Because such fixations produce efforts contrary to the ones we are seeking. We can certainly say that we aspire to liberate ourselves from the causes of suffering, from selfishness, ignorance, jealousy, pride. Did you realize these things cause you suffering? They're not just unpleasant when they occur. They cause more suffering. But the idea is not to score points. The idea is to define what we want to strive for and decide that it's worthwhile. Alexandra, his other friend, quotes Spinoza. I'll read the last 5-6 lines from his reply. What am I really? What are the basic choices in my life? What influences have shaped me up to the present time? I am struck by the extent to which we compensate for our weaknesses and imitate others to build ourselves up. Spinoza supports this view in his Ethics. He quotes Spinoza, where he urges us to identify all the causes to drive us to act. And what do we do here? What's our motivation? In Buddhism, first thing, what's your motivation? What are the causes that drive us to act and often to react? And then he says, quoting Spinoza, freedom is born moment by moment from this act of awareness. What is my motivation? That's where freedom comes. You build a character that's free. What's the joke? Real estate, location, Buddhism, motivation. Now Matthew replies, this is a very interesting part. He's talking about the difference of the Christian mystics' realization of their path versus the Buddhist. He's a very good follower of Shabkar. He never met him because Shabkar died before he was even born. But The question of doubt is also important, says Matthew on the bottom of 27. A few years ago, I translated from Tibetan the autobiography of Shakbar, or Shabkar, actually, not Shakbar, Shabkar, Mr. Dyslexia here. Nice to meet you. A yogi who lived more than 2 centuries ago. It so happened that a biography of Saint Teresa of Lisieux appeared at the same time as my translation. Le Monde published an article on the 2 works. It basically said the life of Shabkar was not very interesting because the path of this great Tibetan yogi seemed so clearly delineated in advance. He's right. The Buddhism will give you the whole blueprint. Here it is, from the beginning to tantric achievement. He went from ignorance to enlightenment, just like taking a walk through the woods. He did undergo certain physical trials, but no, quote, dark nights of the soul. You've heard of that? We all have. No agonizing doubts. In the life of Saint Teresa of Lisieux and that of Saint John of the Cross, however, there were moments of total faith, and then the next day was replaced by complete nothingness. God seemed to have disappeared. This is really heavy, by the way. Asking myself what the difference was between the 2 paths, I came to the conclusion that for the Christian mystics, what matters most is one's relationship to God, since they have abandoned all worldly concerns. Very good. Thus, everything depends on their intense communion with God, and therefore on the existence of this God. Now, this existence is a mystery, forever inaccessible. The idea of this mystery is magnificent. It is as though there is a huge mountain that is perpetually hidden behind clouds, but which is the inspiration for our whole lives. There are moments in which one is intimately convinced that it is there, that one is in communion with it, and other moments in which one is preyed upon by doubt. Hence these great mystic flights followed by nights of darkness. Amazing. I won't comment on this. In Buddhism, enlightenment is a clearly defined goal, which stands before me a little bit like Mount Everest for somebody who wants to climb it. That's a nice way of putting it. I have no doubt concerning the existence of this mountain rising majestically before my eyes, but I am uncertain as to whether I will be able to make the immense efforts it will take to reach its summit, whether it's worth it, and if may not be better off just sunning myself on the beach. Yes, we all have these thoughts. In fact, why not? But after I think it over properly, it becomes clear to me that I do aspire to scale this mountain. Why? Because I know that it is really worthwhile to liberate oneself from ignorance, hate, jealousy, pride, greed, and such, and I hesitate no longer. He's going to the right motivation. Look, you're going to make yourself happier. Ice water wake up for yourself. One might go astray in one's meditation, falsely imagine that one has attained spiritually profound states of realization, succumb to despondency, or fall into the duality of hope and fear. But these obstacles are without a doubt less dramatic than the alteration between total faith and total doubt described, for example, by Mother Teresa in her memoirs. And as I read part of that, where you abandoned me at the end of her life, she said to God, show me yourself, show me. So that's interesting, and we could take a lot of advice from this on our own path. We have a little thing called the I, the person, and the ego. This will now tie into our description of emptiness and the ego last time. This is Matthew on page 44. So the I, the person, and the ego. Not me. Who's talking to me? You can do that, yes. Matthew says, we take our, quote, I to be a unique entity, autonomous and lasting. It is no doubt useful for functioning in life. Yes, I applied for this, I bought that, whatever. But does the concept we have of it really correspond to reality? So this is the big question, and this is what gets you out of samsara. When I see a photograph of myself as a child, I say, this little guy riding a bike is me. Since that time, I've gone through all kinds of experiences and my body has aged, but I still think, it's me. I don't know. In this phenomenon, Several mental mechanisms are present simultaneously: the perception of an I, that of a person, and that of an ego. All this comes up at once. He's, like a surgeon pulling them apart. The I lives in the present. It's the I that thinks. When I wake up in the morning, I exist. Then I'm cold or I'm hungry. We could add whatever you want to that. It corresponds to the experience of our current state. The notion of the person reflects our history. It is a continuum that covers the whole of our existence, which includes physical, mental, and social aspects. Its continuity over time allows us to connect the mental representations of ourselves that pertain to the past with those that relate to the future. Yes, this is like a little character we have of ourselves, and it appears, it gets older, whatever it does. Excuse me, salud. And then there's the ego. Cue the violins. No, cue the trumpets. The ego has to come in. Hail to the chief. Here we go. Spontaneously, we presume that it constitutes the very core of our being. We conceive of it as an indivisible and permanent whole that characterizes us from cradle to grave. The ego is the proprietor of my body, my mind, my name, my cats, I don't know, whatever you want, my house, Even though the mind is a dynamic flux by nature. Yes, hold on, what is the mind? It's always moving. It's a dynamic flux by nature, in constant transformation. We can't help but imagine a distinct entity similar to a boat floating down a river. Yeah, things are changing, but I'm in the boat. Another way of putting it, this guy thinks deep. And you gotta love him. I mean, really. Once the perception of I and person crystallize into the much stronger sense of identity called the ego, we want to protect and satisfy this ego. So this you got to take step by step. Perception of I, then a person, and then the ego. We want to protect and satisfy this ego. We manifest aversion towards anything that threatens it, and attraction for anything that pleases and comforts it. Who's the boss here, guys? That's what I say to myself. These two reactions give rise to a multitude of conflicting emotions: anger, desire, envy, jealousy, and the like. What good are those? No. One only has to examine this ego a little to realize to what degree it is no more than a mystification whose author is our own mind. We wrote the whole thing and set it up. How did we do that? I don't know. There's where the internal vision has to be developed. What the hell's going on? You created the monster. Let's try, for example, to locate it. When I say, you hit me, I'm not saying you hit my body, but that's not serious because that's not me. Thus, I do associate my ego with my body. My mind, on the other hand, cannot be hit. But when I say, you hurt my feelings, I associate ego with my feelings, with my mind. Moreover, when I say my feelings, my mind, my name, my body, the ego appears to be the proprietor of all that. It is not clear how an entity endowed with a definite existence could, like Harlequin, assume all these mutually incompatible identities. Logically, it don't make sense. Doesn't make sense. So the ego can only be a concept, a mental label applied to a dynamic process. Another concept. No wonder they hold non-conceptuality as being so important. It certainly is useful to us, since it makes it possible for us to connect a whole set of changing situations, to integrate our emotion, our thoughts, the perceptions of our environment, and such into a coherent whole. But it is ultimately the product of a continuous mental activity that keeps an imaginary entity alive in our mind. So that's it. We'll leave it at that. The ego is like, it's really there, but not really there. But it's right now causing all the trouble.
Like the concept of the continuum, though.
Yeah.
And that's just not real at all.
It's not, I know.
It's the boy who's riding a bicycle, and I'm not even close to that.
You didn't have a beard then.
Yeah,
No.
certainly didn't. I feel like if we can get away from thinking of ourselves as we've always been this,
Yeah.
I am this, it's like it's concrete and I am, or I don't like this object because I've never liked that object,
Yeah.
but I'm going to be completely different tomorrow.
You are.
So who's to say I'm not going to like that,
Yeah.
Like you could be more open to change if you don't think you're concrete.
Right. And you have to be open to change because that's what's going on.
That's, yeah.
I mean, really, everything's moving all the time. We don't like getting old. I don't like seeing this old.
Except for New Jersey Transit.
Except for New Jersey Transit. They'd never move. That's right. They found the one thing. And it's not transit. It's the wrong name. Transit implies motion. I know. New Jersey delay. New Jersey suspended reality. I know. But that's true. That's where the tension is. We're making this world moment by moment, and it's not one of the. And impermanence is a real easy route into the I start to examine reality because it's something you can't deny. You may want to, but you really can't, and you don't need a special one-pointed samadhi mind to understand that. Things are changing. You got to paint your house. You got to feed yourself. You got to go to sleep. Hey. Well, thank you very much, Mathieu. We hope to see you someday live in person in the Tibet Center. Nikki knows him. So. He's got a lot of good books out if you want to ease your way into some of these ideas. He's got a book he did with his father, The Monk and the Philosopher. His father was a philosopher. His mother, a great artist. She lived to almost 199, I think. She became a nun. Yes, his mother was a nun in the Nyingma tradition. I think she was under Dilgo Chense Rinpoche. Well, he mentions in his works, he mentions her. They were a prominent couple in Paris in the 30s, 40s. Very interesting family. My favorite book of his is the one he did with the Vietnamese astrophysicist or astronomer Xuan Tu, something called, that's the name of the book now, Quantum and the Lotus. It was written around 2000, and it's just dialogue between the two of them. The science view of reality, Buddhist view of reality. A lot of times they're correct, especially quantum view of the quantum physics view of reality is very much like Nagarjuna. So that's an excellent book, and it's a good dip into a book because it's very short pieces on different chapters. They examine time, and they examine a lot of things. We have some upstairs if you want to dip into it. By the way, Gordon, upstairs we have a library on the second floor. You go up there and grab books. And when you finish with them, you bring them back. That's it. You don't have to open an account or anything. We did the meditation on sympathetic joy. What are we doing now? Okay. Constantly, this is Zapatru Rinpoche, the one who was a great scholar, and everybody thought he was an idiot because he never showed up on a great horse and with a retinue and all this, but he was, they went famous, even Gelug Palamas dropped down and prostrated him. Trungpa Rinpoche's stories, a lot of them come from this. It's a famous text called Kunsang Lame Jalung in Tibetan, Words of My Perfect Teacher. And everyone thought, oh, he's just a wandering yogi, but no, he's also a great scholar from memory. And I said the other night that he was studying with these two other lamas day after day with this teacher, and They were wealthy. They had a lot of food. He didn't have anything. He gave away everything he had. And he would eat whatever they gave him left over. And then he'd go to sleep. And they would study. So then he said to each other, let's ask him what went on today before he goes to sleep. So he ate, and he says, yes, could you tell us what went on today? He recited verbatim what the teacher said from memory, had exquisite memory. And then they realized they were in the presence of somebody special. Sounds like Shantideva, where they challenged him, Yeah, why don't you teach? All right, what do you want to hear? And that's it. So, this is from page 214. We already did this. This is where one geshe is talking about the other with gossip, I think we said this before, but we'll go over it. But constantly dwelling on such feelings as jealousy and competitiveness neither furthers one's own cause nor harms that of one's rival. It leads to a pointless accumulation of negativity. So here you are, jealous of someone who got something, and I wish they would drop dead, and blah, 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 whatever else goes on in your mind. It doesn't hurt them at all. You don't have that power. If you did, you probably would have gotten rid of them. But it hurts you. So let's get real here. Give up vile attitudes of this kind. Always sincerely rejoice in the achievements and favorable circumstances of others, whether it be their social position, their physique, their wealth, learning, or wherever else. This helps you. Rejoicing with them helps you. Think over and over again how truly glad you are that they are such excellent people, so successful and fortunate. Think how wonderful it would be if they became even better off than they are now and acquired all the strength, wealth, learning, and good qualities that they could possibly ever get. Meditate on this from the depths of your heart, and that is very, very healthy. And that's how you bring about what they call sympathetic joy. Then the four boundless qualities. May beings have happiness, the cause of happiness, free of suffering, and the cause of all that living in equanimity, cannot fail to cause us to develop genuine bodhicitta. It is therefore vital to cultivate them until they have truly taken root in us. Those meditations are very pleasant, and they help us a lot. Even if you meditate on someone suffering, you're suffering, and somebody, wait a minute, others are suffering more than me, and you go through the category. People are really sick and can't even get to a hospital. People got enough to eat even though they're sick. People are very sick and have no roof over their head, things like that. Sounds ghoulish, sounds strange. No, it's not. Try it. Your own suffering shrinks. And it, over time, builds you up to a point where you become a bodhisattva, you have developed bodhicitta. To make things easy as possible to understand, we can summarize the four boundless qualities in a single phrase: a kind heart. Sounds like His Holiness, doesn't it? Someone asks His Holiness, why are people so happy to see you? And just naturally, you feel joyful. And then he stopped for a while and said, well, maybe it's because for 4 hours every day I meditate on compassion. 4 hours. Just train yourself to have a kind heart and always in all situations. One day Lord Atisha's hand was hurting, so he laid it on Drum Tampa's lap and said, you are so kind-hearted, bless my hand. This is a Tibetan custom. They ask realized lamas to blow on a wound to cure it. That wouldn't go over big these days because there's a lot of people making money. I'll charge you $50 a breath. Huh? However, in those days, what are you talking about? Atisha and Drum Tampa, and it's probably just a play that they put on. So Atisha always placed a unique emphasis on the importance of a kind heart rather than ask people, how are you? He would say, has your heart been kind? Rinpoche said, he would say, have you had a good thought? He never said, how are you? How's your father? Have you had a good thought today? So you could ask yourself that, am I having good thoughts lately? If not, throw the bad ones out. You can do it. You're in charge. Whenever he taught, he would add, have a kind heart. It is the power of kind or unkind intentions that makes an action positive or negative, strong or weak. Intention or motivation, again. When the intention behind them is good, all physical or verbal actions are positive, as well was illustrated by the story of the man who put the leather sole over the tsatsa. Same story of an image of a Buddha left out in the rain. somebody walked around and said, look, somebody left the image out of the Buddha. Somebody should cover it. So he found an old rag and put it on it. That was good. Somebody else comes along later, so who put this filthy rag on the Buddha? He took it off. That was also good. It's the motivation. So it is said, if the intention is good, the levels and paths are good. If the intention is bad, the levels and paths are bad. Since everything depends on intentions, always make sure that they are positive. Then he gives the story of the old woman with her daughter fording a river, and they were being swept away by the current. You've heard this many times. The woman thought, well, I don't care if I drown, but I want my daughter to be saved. The daughter thought, I don't care if I drown, but I want my mother to be saved. They were both drowned, but they both went to heaven because of their motivation. Unless I'm skipping along now, there was a story of a messenger that jumped out of the boat to save others, all this. So, better for me to die than everyone to die. We don't need that. And a beggar who cursed the king fell asleep and the wheel rolled over his neck and decapitated him. A lot of stories like this. We don't feel like hearing that now. So, unless you remember the purpose of your quest for Dharma with mindfulness and vigilance, and watch your mind all the time, violent feelings of attachment and hatred can easily lead to the accumulation of very serious negative effects. Although the old beggar's wishes could never come true, he wanted to be the king. He was jealous of the king, sleeping in his doorway. Screw the king. Walk. Karma, instant karma got him. Was it likely that the king sleeping comfortable in his jeweled bed in the palace would lose his head? No. And even if he were beheaded, would it be more plausible that the prince would take over? So the beggar was totally hallucinating what he could do and can't do. So even if somehow he did not, was there any chance that in spite of all the ministers who were like tigers, leopards, and bears, a scabrous old beggar would take over the throne? Guys are like this with their crushes on certain women, too. I mean, guys invade the houses of celebrity. Oh, yes, I have a relationship with... Hello? But that's an illness. But here's the warning. Unless you check yourself carefully, however, even such ludicrous negative thoughts as this can arise. So as Geshe Shawopa says, do not rule over imaginary kingdoms of endlessly proliferating possibilities. You have these fantasies, we're doing this and that, you get carried away. It's not at all possible that this could happen. But you're in it, you believe it. It's a psychosis, I think someone would call that today, maybe, you know. Here's another one with the story of the Brahmin who, but if you learn to always have kind thoughts, all your wishes for this lifetime will come true. This is Patrul's dictum. If you learn to always have only kind thoughts, all your wishes for this lifetime will come true. Oh, that's easy. From now on, I'm going to have kind thoughts. Try it. See what happens with the mind. It's like riding a bronco horse, a bronking horse. The benevolent gods will protect you if you have kind thoughts. Rinpoche said the same thing. You will see the blessings of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Everything you do will be positive. At the moment of death, you will not suffer. In future lives, you will always be reborn in celestial or human realms until finally you attain the level of perfect Buddhahood. Do not rush off without examining your thoughts and feelings, and perform a great show of virtuous activities, prostration, circumambulations, prayers, recitation of mantras, and so on. Instead, it is important to check your attitude all the time and to cultivate a kind heart. The externals don't mean that much. People make a big show of them. I mean, maybe it brings in more revenues. I don't know. You got to be careful. The purpose of the whole thing is to train the mind, to get rid of jealousy and the false ego. So, and there was another thing I had, and I should have marked the page better. We mentioned it the other night. Let's see. Here we go. This is dealing with demons. Oh, these demons are frightening demons. I lost the marker, it fell out, so bear with me. Otherwise, we'll just go right to His Holiness's book, which we might have to do anyway. Here we are. They're talking about chod practice. Maybe you've heard of it, where people go. They used to go in the old days to a scary cemetery and bring up fear, and then within that fear, develop fierceness and kill, get the demons, kill this, that, and the other. You have to be careful there. That's misunderstanding the practice. The practice was started in Tibet by Machik Labdron. The meaning of chud, cho is dharma, chid is this practice. The so-called spirits to be destroyed, this is Zapatro, very important now. The so-called spirits to be destroyed in cho practice are not anywhere outside. They are within us. Good morning. All the hallucinations that we perceive in the form of spirits outside ourselves arise because we have not eradicated the conceit of believing in an I and the self. You might add the ego. As Machik said, the Machik Labdron who propagated the tangible demon, the intangible demon, the demon of exaltation, the demon of conceit, all of them come down to the demon of conceit, your ego. The thing we call a spirit is in fact the demon of conceit, Zapatro says, explaining it. Yeah. The belief in a self, a hardwired self. Machik also says, the many spirits means concepts. The powerful spirit means belief in a self. The wild spirit, she's quoting words from the prayers, means thoughts. To destroy these spirits is to be an adept at show, not the outside things. Hello, this is the theater of your mind that's going on. Jetson Milarepa's conversation with the Ogress of the Rock included these words. The Ogress of the Rock is a very good chapter. It's long. So maybe next time Nikki goes away, we'll have this. It'll take a whole class to do. Belief in an I is more powerful than you are, demoness. He says that to the demon to get rid of. Concepts are more numerous than you are, demoness. Thoughts are more spoilt by habits than you are, demoness. He also classified the various kinds of chud as follows. Outer chud is to wander in fearsome places and mountain solitudes. Inner chud is to cast away one's body as food. Absolute chud is to serve the root once and for all. I am a yogi who possesses these three kinds of chud. So all Zapatro now. So all chud practices are therefore to cut through the belief in itself. That's the reason. You bang the drum, you do this, you visualize bloody things, etc., and so forth. It's to bring up a strong focus. The element of fear carries with it something that's not so good. You're scared. But it also carries focus. It also carries energy. Suppose you get rid of the negative part and just bring up that focus, that strong energy, and direct it, then you got something going. So this is Tantra now. So belief in a self, which is the root of all ignorance and deluded perceptions. This is what it means by the line, absolute chud is to sever the root once and for all. External demons are just deluded perceptions. And as long as you do not destroy your belief in a self, trying to kill them will not put them to death. Beating them will have no effect on them. Trampling them will not crush them. Chasing after them will not make them go away. Unless you sever the root, which is the conceit within you, you will be no more able to annihilate the illusory spirits, which are its external manifestations, than get rid of smoke without putting out the fire. These things are the manifestations of your ignorant mind, painting this picture. The Ogress of the Rock told Jetson Miller, if you don't know that demons come from your own mind, there'll be other demons beside myself. I'm not going to leave just because you tell me to go. And Milarepa said, take a demon as a demon and it'll harm you. Know a demon in your mind and you'll be free of it. Know the demons in your mind and you'll be free of it. Realize a demon to be empty and you'll annihilate it. And again, you who appear as harmful spirits and yakshas, male or female, only when one has no understanding are you demons, bringing all your mischief and your obstacles. But once one understands, even you demons are deities and become the source of all accomplishments. You are taking these things now and using that on the path. Very like judo. Your enemy's energy, you just turning it. What is called chud is to eradicate any belief in demons from within, not to kill them, thrash them, cast them out, crush and destroy them. We must understand that the thing to be destroyed is not outside, it is within us. Zapatrel talking. Generally speaking, most other religious traditions teach an aggressive approach to outer hostile forces and external creators of obstacles, using the sharpness, severity, and power of violent methods, the points of arrows and spears, all directed outwards. But in our tradition, Milarepa says, my system is to eradicate the belief in a self, to cast the 8 ordinary concerns to the winds, and to make the 4 demons feel embarrassed. Well, that's good. They ran away and covered their faces. Direct all your practice inwards and mobilize all your strength, skill, and powers against the belief in the self that dwells within you. To say, eat me, take me away, yeah, crush me, use my body as food. You know, you're telling that to the demons. You're facing it. Hello? One is 100 times better. Once is 100 times better than crying, protect me, save me. To offer yourself as food to the 100 spirits is better than calling to 100 protective deities for help. We entrust the sick to the demons. We rely on our enemies to guide us. One devour me, carry me off is better than protect me, save me hundreds of times. This is the Venerable Mother's tradition. Amazing. This is a very difficult topic. I'm just giving you a taste of it, so maybe you need it in the future. If you cut your belief in demons at the root from within, you will perceive everything as pure. And as the saying goes, demons become Dharma protectors, and those protectors' faces become the face of Nirmanakaya. People today who claim the practitioners of Cho do not understand any of this and persist in thinking of spirits as something outside themselves. They believe in demons and keep on perceiving them all the time. In everything that happens, they see some ghost or gyalgong, I don't know what that is. They have no peace of mind themselves and are always bewildering others with their lies, delivered with much assertive blustering. There's a ghost up there, and down there too. Here's a ghost, there's a ghost, there, come on. And all that. So, the great master, I'm skipping around. Demons fool the lamas, and lamas fool their patron, or as the saying goes, the son fools his father while the enemies fool the son. He is also, Zapatrol criticizes at the beginning of an initiation, they offer torma cakes to the interfering spirits and all that, and sometimes poison them, kill them, this. He said, excuse me, these predators are objects of compassion. You shouldn't be killing them. They're suffering. They have a miserable life. And he goes on and describes it in great detail. And when they die, they're going to deepest hells. What kind of a lama has no compassion for them? These are not real lamas. He really puts it to them. The right way in those things is when they offer torment, you're like bribing people. Hang out there. Here, it's something for like giving kids, go play. Here's some candy and soda, something like that. Not kill, poison, out, It makes a big theater. He mentions that. They show off, fiercely reciting stuff. They miss the point. So, in the decadent age, which is where we're supposed to be now, male spirits will enter men's hearts. Female spirits will enter women's hearts. Goblins will enter children's hearts. Samaya breakers will enter the clergy's hearts. Those who don't keep their vows. There will be a spirit in every single Tibetan's heart. When goblins are taken for gods, a time of suffering will come upon us. These prophecies have come to pass, he said. So anyway, we'll leave that at that, because a little more to go, and we only have 6 minutes. So very quickly, very to the point, this is the Dalai Lama's, you have died. You are in the bardo, the intermediate state. This is page 194 of his advice on dying and living a better life. Straight up, no comment, nothing, it's good. While you are alive, all winds and conceptions are sunk in ordinary patterns and not under your control. During the intermediate states, the winds or energies associated with the 4 elements reverse their usual patterns, and frightful sounds emerge from this reversal. When the earth wind collapses, a sound like mountains crumbling loudly rumbles. This is what you're going to perceive in the bardo. But now you know these things are happening, you can be immune to them somewhat. When the water wind collapses, sound like ocean in uproar crashes. When the fire wind collapses, a sound like fire blazing in a heavy forest rages. Due to the collapse of the wind, pervasive wind, a sound like a horrendous whirling hurricane howls. There are also frightful appearances of hell beings, hungry ghosts, and animals that are projections of your own karma. Good morning. Again, nothing external. Some appear as lords of death, brandishing their weapons and shouting, strike, kill, and you're frightened. Bad neighborhood, man. How'd I get in here? Your place, reliance, behavior, food, friends, and feelings are completely uncertain. How come I'm here? You moved around without your... Uncertainty of place means you constantly arrive in various places. Uncertainty of reliance means that you seek refuge in the transient, bridges, wells, and so forth. Uncertainty of behavior means that you abruptly change and waft around like a feather in the wind in the Bardo state. Uncertainty of food means that you see delicious foods but are unable to eat them unless they have been intended for you. That's why they dedicate them. Uncertainty of friends means that you take up company with random beings. Uncertainty of feeling means that you experience sudden changes in mood, sometimes happy, sometimes pain, sometimes sad, angry, and so forth. We sometimes have dreams like this. We're over here, we're glad, we're over there, and well, wow, whoa. How did we get from here to there? Holy minute, I was on the Staten Island ferry, and now I'm over here, and then things like that. It happens. In addition, in the intermediate state, there are the three frightful ravines that appear. A great red ravine, if you are dominated by lust, a great gray ravine, if you are dominated by ignorance, and a great black ravine, if you are dominated by hatred. There are also 4 paths indicating your next life. This is important. If wherever you go, there is a path of white light, it is a sign that you will be born as a god or demigod. If the path is yellow light, your next life will be as a human or an animal. If it is a path of black light, it indicates rebirth as a hell being, and if it is a path of red light, it suggests rebirth as a hungry ghost. In the intermediate state, the color of the body of someone to be reborn as a hell being is like a burnt log. Yes, the body you have is of your future life, not half of the past and half of the future or the past life. This is this presentation. So, like a burnt log, as an animal like smoke, as a hungry ghost like water, as a god of the desire realm, or as a human like gold, as a god of the form realm white. The direction of your movement too reflects your rebirth. The intermediate forms of hell beings, hungry ghosts, and animals proceed downward head first. The intermediate, the Bardo forms, or intermediate forms of gods of the realm of desire, and humans go straight forward. The intermediate state of gods of the form realm, states of rebirth characterized by intense concentration, they go upward. The Kasinas, maybe you know of those, that's the form realm. The intermediate state could be as short as an instant, especially if your virtuous karma is particularly strong, as would be the case if you had generated powerful love and compassion, or developed a powerful wish to be reborn in a pure land, or when your intention to be reborn for the benefit of others is powerful. You have strong bodhicitta. Boom. You're out of it. You don't go through all that in the Bardo. This is very good. Otherwise, driven by karma in varying degrees of darkness and light, you will rush around seeking a situation for rebirth. Right now, we can develop more and more compassion. Look at the reward. Whiz through the Bardo. Right on your way to a very good rebirth. So they say. Now, we have to read more, study more, and so we have more confidence that this is true. Not just hearing it. That doesn't work. So if you now find a good rebirth in 7 days, the intermediate being dies, and just like you awaken from sleep, your dream body dissolves like breath on a mirror, your wind body in the intermediate state dissolves from the bottom of the top, ending at the heart, and the bottom and the top, like this. In this small death, you quickly pass through the 8 phases of death in forward order, but you will emerge into a new intermediate state. Again, they do this for 7 times the most. Then it's assumed you've been born as a spirit. So that's where the 49 days comes from. They're counting human days in the human realm. There's arguments about that too. Returning to the poem, In the midst of various appearances, you are seeking to remain calm and to cause your external environments to appear as wondrous, inestimable mansions and their surroundings. 2. Internal beings such as hell beings, hungry ghosts, animals. Internal beings such as hungry ghosts, animals, humans, demigods, and gods, to appear as deities, beings whose very essence is compassion and wisdom, that kind of deity. And the secret, your own awareness and thoughts, is to appear as the concentrated meditation of bliss, realizing emptiness. Thus, no matter what signs appear, they are reversible by practice, through which there is no doubt that you will be reborn in a good life. Through the power of these 3 yogas, imagining the external, internal, and secret to be pure, you are seeking to close the door of rebirth to an impure life and cyclic existence, and instead to be reborn in a special supreme land beyond polluted karma and afflictive emotions, where you can continue to practice. And remember Chungla's advice, you're a good tantric practitioners, do this, Siddhana. If not, it's best to say, may I be reborn where I could be useful sentient beings, where I can remove suffering. That never fails. He gave it. So, summary advice by His Holiness, then we're done. Be prepared that in the intermediate state there may be many unusual appearances, both wonderful and horrific. Understand now that whatever appears can be transformed by your imagination. Hold your ground. Be calm. Yes. Imagine the environment as beautiful mansions laid out in a serene landscape. And don't ask the price. Don't do that. No, just enjoy it. See beings as having an essence of compassion and wisdom. Consider your own awareness as a blissful mind realizing emptiness. Fake it, like the jazz musician said, right? This will yield rebirth in a place where you can continue a practice towards deeper spiritual realization. That's His Holiness's thing about the Bardo, so we end on that. The jazz musician got in a cab at Penn Station. I told you this joke, you heard him? He said, take me to the Vanguard. So the cab driver says, I don't know where it is. He said, fake it. What names do we have there?
Just the trained person.
Okay. The train that brought Lavinia here was delayed because someone was killed at the Milburn station. You too, you were involved in that too? Eugene just got here. You must have been behind him. So we'll do such a recollection of Noble Three Jewels, or whoever else you want to pray for, the victims of the various wars going all around the world, too many of them. Yeah. I prostrate to the Omniscient One, thus the Buddha, Bhagavat, Tathagata, Arahat, Samyak Sang Buddha, the learned and virtuous one, the Sugata, the knower of the world, the charioteer and tamer of beings, the unsurpassable one. The teacher of devas and humans is the Buddha Bhagavat. The Tathagata is in accord with all merit. He does not waste the roots of virtue. He is completely ornamented with all patience. He is the basis of the treasures of merit. He is adorned with the minor marks. He blossoms with the flowers of the major marks. His activity is timely and appropriate. Seeing him, he is without disharmony. He brings true joy to those who long with faith. His knowledge cannot be overpowered. His strengths cannot be challenged. He is the teacher of all sentient beings. He is the father of bodhisattvas. He is the king of noble ones. He is the guide of those who journey to the city of nirvana. He possesses immeasurable wisdom. He possesses inconceivable confidence. His speech is completely pure. His melody is pleasing. One never has enough of seeing him. His form is incomparable. He is not stained by the realm of desire. He is not stained by the realm of form. He is not affected by the formless realm. He is completely liberated from suffering. He is completely and utterly liberated from the skandhas. He is not possessed with dhatus. His ayatanas are controlled. He has completely cut the knots. He is completely liberated from extreme torment. He is liberated from craving. He has crossed over the river. He is perfected in all the wisdoms. He abides in the wisdom of the Buddha Bhagavats who arise in the past, present, and future. He does not abide in nirvana. He abides in the ultimate perfection. He dwells on the bhumi where he sees all sentient beings. All these are the perfect virtues of the greatness of the Buddha Bhagavat. The holy Dharma is good at the beginning, good in the middle, and good at the end. Its meaning is excellent. Its words are excellent. It is uncorrupted. It is completely perfect and completely pure. It completely purifies. The Bhagavad teaches the Dharma well. It brings complete vision. It is free from sickness. It is always timely. It directs one further. Seeing it fulfills one's purpose. It brings discriminating insight for the wise. The Dharma, which is taught by the Bhagavad, is revealed properly in the Vinaya. It is renunciation. It causes one to arrive at perfect enlightenment. It is without contradiction. It is pithy. It is trustworthy and puts an end to the journey. As for the Sangha of the great Jnana, they enter completely, they enter insightfully, they enter straightforwardly, they enter harmoniously. They are worthy of veneration with joined palms. They are worthy of receiving prostration. They are a field of glorious merit. They are completely capable of receiving all gifts. They are an object of generosity. They are a great object of complete generosity. The protector who possesses great kindness, the omniscient teacher, the basis of oceans of merit and virtue, I prostrate to the Tathagata. Pure, the cause of freedom from passion, virtuous, liberating from the lower realms. This alone is the supreme ultimate truth. I prostrate to the Dharma, which is peace. Having been liberated, they show the path to liberation. They are fully dedicated to the disciplines. They are a holy field of merit and possess virtue. I prostrate to the Sangha. I prostrate to the Buddha, the leader. I prostrate to the Dharma, the protector. I prostrate to the Sangha, the community. I prostrate respectfully and always to these three. The Buddha's virtues are inconceivable. The Dharma's virtues are inconceivable. The Sangha's virtues are inconceivable. Having faith in these inconceivables, therefore the fruitions are inconceivable. May they be born in a completely pure realm. So I wonder if that poor person who died knows. Maybe they do. In the bottle you have to have that someone's praying for. Someone not too far away. It was our location. 8 verses on training the mind. It's one more. Let's turn over. With the determination to accomplish the highest welfare of all sentient beings who surpass even a wish-granting jewel, I will learn to hold them supremely dear. Whenever I associate with others, I will learn to think of myself as the lowest amongst all and respectfully hold others to be supreme from the very depths of my heart. In all actions, I will learn to search into my mind, and as soon as a disturbing emotion arises, endangering myself and others, I will firmly face and avert it. I will learn to cherish ill-natured beings and those oppressed by strong misdeeds and sufferings, as if I had found a precious treasure difficult to find. When others out of jealousy treat me badly, with abuse, slander, and so on, I will learn to take all loss and offer the victory to them. When the one whom I had benefited with great hope unreasonably hurts me very badly, I will learn to view that person as an excellent spiritual guide. In short, I will learn to offer to everyone without exception all help and happiness directly and indirectly, and respectfully take upon myself all harm and suffering of my mothers. I will learn to keep all these practices undefiled by the stains of the 8 worldly concerns, and by understanding all phenomena as like illusions, be released from the bondage of attachment. Prayer for the swift return of Rato Chungla Rinpoche, whose picture is right here. We understand he's been reborn, but they're not releasing where or when, or the particulars yet. Written by His Holiness. Exalted wisdom of all victors gathered in a drop, sole refuge manifest in the form of the one wearing saffron robes, Guru Lozang Tubuang Doji Chang. Please bear witness here today that our prayers may be fulfilled. We beseech the great torch of doctrine, accomplishing from long ago the vast waves of aspirational prayers, Lord of speech of the Victor Losang's teachings, spreading them to the ends of the earth by means of explanation and practice. Though holding the commitment, I will invite all beings to be my guests in unsurpassed great awakening, yet you have withdrawn the activities of the form body that serves the welfare of others. is that worthy of the supreme among beings, the Bodhisattvas. Though impossible for you till cyclic existence's end to abandon your commitment to liberate all beings, we beseech the new son of Nirmanakaya to swiftly return from the realm of Dharmakaya, brought forth by bodhicitta drawn by 7 steeds. Having reached the far limits of scholarship, religious life, and goodness, please come swiftly as an unrivaled supreme emanation, full holder of the sage's teachings and wish-fulfilling jewel. Return as the glory of Losang Tempe. Magnificent truth of the 3 precious jewels, Mahakala, Karmayama, and Sri Mata Devi, and the oceans of Dharma protectors, may you spontaneously fulfill our wish, the swift blossoming of the reincarnation's fresh moonlight face. This concludes tonight's presentation. Next on the menu is Saturday. At 1 o'clock we have the White Tara Sadhana, meditation for long life and health. And after that we have a nice vegetarian and non-vegetarian, there's sometimes meat there or fish, whatever, lunch, buffet, and Buddhist or not, we don't care. Come and relax, enjoy yourself. Our teacher Nikki is coming in tonight. 9 o'clock is supposed to be the arrival time, the way the airlines are working. I don't know, it might be 5 years from now. But so he will be probably doing the next class, which Dharma class in New York City, which will be Monday night at 7 o'clock at 151 West 30th Street, right by Penn Station. You can't miss it. So thank you very much for your patient listening. Any other comments before Darren returns to turn us off the air? Darren, you ready?
Yeah.
Oh, big love to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony.
I thought you were in the kitchen. I thought I heard. Boy, am I losing it. I mean, really.
There's 2 of me.
What?
There's 2 of me.
There's 40 of me. Shut up! God damn. Ooh, more caffeine, please. Ooh.